Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench, episode number 19. My name is Elvis Stahl from Summer Dental Laboratories in Zionsville, Indiana.
Hi guys, I'm Barbara Wojin from Knight Dental Group, Oldsmar, Florida. This is our last teen episode, so Elvis and I are celebrating. We're going to be into the 20s next week. We made it.
I know, can you believe it?
No.
Can you believe it? Episode 19? Seems like just last week we were doing episode 18.
I can't believe that you've kept me on track this long, so I'm proud.
That's the true medal winning ability that I have.
I know it is.
Keeping Barbara on track.
If anybody knows me, they know that's a true statement, so thank you.
All right. Well, we got part 2 of Von Grow today. This is where he starts talking about the actual DTG, the Dental Technicians Guild, where it gets its start, and really the power of social media. That's kind of how he starts everything. It's some fascinating stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we were happy to interview him, and we're excited to bring it to you guys. I hope you enjoy it. It's great.
Yeah, let's get right to it. Von Grow, part 2. Voices from the Bench. The interview.
I wish we did do them. Because it's, I get a lot of questions. I'm probably losing a lot of money. I'll refer them all to you, though, if you'd like.
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it took a lot of work and a lot of experience. And, that's really what builds kind of who we are. It's like what you've been doing all of these years. And the way things are going, I encourage everybody to do that. If you have a special thing that you do or a niche or something that I encourage people to gravitate towards that and be that guy or that woman or that person in your area, put a claim on that. Say, hey, to the point where, and get it out there on social, any way you can, market yourself as that. And see, that's really cool what you just said, Barbara, and I'm humbled, but I'm also excited because what I've done over these past years of just sharing on social media, it seems to be working.
Definitely.
And that's why I tell everyone to do that. I go, put your, and I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're doing, whatever you think you do, whatever that is for you, jump on that and say, hey, look, and market yourself that way so that, eventually that's what will be happening is like, well, man, I do those, but I don't do them as good as Barbara. You should really call Barbara because have you seen her work? Get on Facebook, put her, and it's just great. If we could all do that for each other, I've learned enough to if I don't do something well, I don't try to fake it until I make it. I just say, I think a lot of techs are afraid to do that. They want to seem to their clients like they know how to do everything. And it gets them in trouble, because they'll lose accounts like that because they don't have the proper training. They want to say yes and then hurry and learn it and then try to do it. But it's it's okay too, to just say, you know what? I don't do those. I don't know how to do that. I haven't had training in that. But hey, if you ever have a case here's what I do well, really well. I have thousands of units in the mouth, or
Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you have a weakness that you want to add to your lab, hire somebody that's a strength, or do a deal or a partnership, whatever you need to do to get that skill in your lab. I'm not saying you can't learn it. I'm just saying before you learn it, don't tell somebody you're like a pro or a master at it.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad for you.
Absolutely. I'd love to have you back on sometime to hear about the technique. I really don't know a lot about it, and I'm sure a lot of listeners don't know about it.
Yeah, sure. I'm just on the cusp here of starting what I want to call the foil revolution. Mm-hmm. I really want to see it come back in a big way. So the nickname that people have put on the veneers that I make is they call them Von-ears.
Von-ears,
so yeah. So, you may see that more. I may just break open with that and just be like, look, here's one big like free for all. I'm just going to show everybody. I really want it to come back. So I really just, because I think it's like important. I think it's a great tool to have in your tool belt. A lot of people would say, well, what's in it for you? And I would just say, you know what, just to have it come back, have more options for our clients, you know?
Absolutely.
They start to see cases like this, minimal prep and non-invasive dentistry cases come into their, you know, because in school they're just taught to cut teeth, traditional preps, you know, full crown preps. Hey, that tooth has a problem, prep it. Just do a full prep on it. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, wait a sec. You're prepping natural tooth away so we can just put it back, and it's unnecessary, right? Especially these non-prep. If it's the right case selection is important, but if it's the right case, there is no reason to cut back beautiful, especially young, like virgin tooth structure.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? Like, this is all backwards. We're cutting back enamel to put enamel back on. Like, if there's room and teeth are in the right position. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to get into it because it's an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. I mean, so, but Elvis, you're right. I mean, I'd be happy to just talk about the foil technique too sometime. So
awesome. But the reason we have you on this time is to talk about this exciting organization you've put together.
Yeah.
I don't even know if organization's the right word. I guess it's guild. Dental Technicians Guild. Tell us about it. What is this all about?
I wish I could tell you exact details or even try to say that, yeah, you know, it's all me or I planned this from the beginning, because honestly, I didn't. The story's far more, I think, tells a story of an organic growth, like an idea and a story that everybody had on their mind already. I just kind of broke it open. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I guess here's where I'll start. First, people want to know about the skull, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, hold on. First, I'm seeing the damaged goods, and then I'm going, how does that tie into the guild or what? So just so everybody knows, again, I've tried to have full transparency on this, that Damaged Goods is a brand. It's a t-shirt company is what it is.
Oh.
And a couple of us technicians back in the day, this was like 2006, I want to say. And we said, you know what, let's do something that's not related to dental at all. We want a hobby. We want to do something fun. And so us four technicians, it was actually with Mark Willis. He was one of the original owners. And Bo Murphy, who you've already talked to, was an original owner. And Jeff Barney and myself, and all technicians, and we all worked for Mark. So we started this back in 2006, I want to say, and we just got this logo together. We're like, let's use a skull, and let's put a D and a G in the eyes, and we just got all excited about this T-shirt company we were going to start, or a clothing brand. Right. So we jumped on that and we started, sure enough, we registered the name, we got the domain. We're like, we're going to need like a website and all this stuff. So we just got this. Luckily we got the name, because we're like, there's no way Damaged Goods is open, right? Like, we can't register this name. But sure enough, it was there because we obviously have it. Long story short, we started this. We made a little online store. We hired a photographer, had a shoot, so we could get all the product in there and everything. And so that became Damaged Goods, the T-shirt company. Then what happened is, fast forward a few years, 2012, when I started Dark Horse Dental Studio, I wanted to know how I could market this, right? So I decided to go to Chicago as part of my research, or kind of see what was going on, right? Because I had not been to the midwinter meeting in like 4 or 5 years went by. I was working for Mark, and I just hadn't been out there. So now that I had my dental lab, Dark Horse, I was like, I want to go out there and see what's happening. So I go out there, and I was just blown away by a couple of things. There's 3 things that I always say I took away from there. First of all, it was how catchy the logo was.
Yep.
Okay, so, well, let me say this. The first thing was how many people knew me from Facebook. Because what I had done is I started some Facebook pages. I went to Facebook first, and I said, how can I market Dark Horse on Facebook or on social media? I looked around. There wasn't much going on. They had a forum called Dental Laboratory Technicians. They had Style Italiano, which is like a huge, I think they have like 75,000 members, some crazy amount now, Style Italiano. And so there was a few forums out there, but not many. So I said, hey, here's a start. So what I started doing is I made 3 pages. One was, I thought would cover the whole gamut, right? Which it didn't even begin to, but I thought it would. It was a good start. I started the official pressed page, and then I started the official wax page and the official foil and refractory veneer page. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to befriend every technician that I can find. I'm going to befriend them on Facebook. So then I started doing that. Just anyone that was a technician, I want to be your friend. A request sent, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I had tons, like thousands of these technician friends. And when they would post their work on their timelines, it would show up in my news feed. So then I would take that work and I would share it to one of those pages that I made. So what happened is, and they were thankful for that. Hey, Vaughn, thanks for sharing my work. You know, because now all these people that belong to those pages see my work all at one time. So by the time I got to Chicago that year in 2013, at this point, I went and all these people just were like, Vaughn, the Facebook guy, right? Hey, you're the Facebook guy. You're the Facebook guy. It was weird to the point where I got into meetings I didn't pre-register for. I mean, there was like, and the people there that worked there were like, yeah, Vaughn, I know you. Like, come in. They knew who I was. So I'm like, the power of social media is crazy.
It's huge.
Huge. It can make people, it can break people, it can, you know, and so I just got in at the right time doing that. And so sure enough, even some of these quote unquote, what you'd call superstars, right? Thomas Singh and Jungo Endo and Russ DeVrug and some of these legend guys, they're like, Vaughn, wait, that's familiar. I know you. Josh Polanski and so on and so forth, right? So it was really cool because that year I just wore my name tag around and everyone was saying Vaughn from Facebook. I ran into Jungo Endo and he saw that on the back of my badge I had a damaged goods sticker.
It's awesome.
So he says, Vaughn, can I have one of those stickers? And I happen to have a stack of them in my pocket. So I hand him one. He sticks it on his tray that he's demonstrating with, and all day long he's opening this tray and this damaged goods sticker is just popping up and everyone's asking him about it, right? And then he's saying, well, that's Vaughn's logo. So he's pointing them to me, and then I'm giving out stickers. So by the end of the day, I had no stickers. People were calling me the Facebook guy. And the third thing I picked up was CAD-CAM and how crazy that just spread. Like, I mean, I couldn't believe, right? I mean, the last time I was in Chicago, there was a few machines out being like, you know, displayed and saying, hey, we can make crowns on these things and all this stuff. Well, this was like stepping onto the stock market exchange, like floor room, you know? That's what I felt like. So I went down to the exhibit hall and I'm just like, oh my gosh, just lines and lines of companies that had their new CAD-CAM machines out.
Yeah, it's every booth now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And some of them were bragging and saying, you know what, in 5 years, technicians will be obsolete. And, you know, the stuff that you hear now that we kind of laugh at. But this was 5 years ago. And obviously we're still around. There's still a huge need. I would say there's even possibly a bigger need for knowledgeable technicians at this point.
Oh, yeah. I remember 5 years ago, you'd be able to hire video game players to design and do your work. And wow, did we learn the hard way that doesn't work. Those mills, you'll never have a problem, right?
Yeah, no. You'll never need tech support. They'll never go down. Yeah, you don't need techs anymore. No, yeah, that's what they were saying. So, Elvis, that's what I came back with. Those are the 3 things that I took was just the crazy amount of CAD-CAM and how they were saying, hey, this is like taken over. And I'm going, well, what about a small lab like me, like a handmade? You know, I'm not really looking to go digital right now, nor could I afford that, right? But they're saying if I don't do that, if I don't get on board with something, I'll be left behind. So what
Oh,
what am
yeah.
I going to do to survive and all this stuff? And I talked to a few other technicians there, and they're asking the same thing. They're like, well, I can't afford that. I mean, back then, 5 years ago, too, and prices have come down, but you're talking investing like 150 grand into
Easy. Yeah.
your 1 or 2 man lab. How's that going to work? I know who can afford it, but I certainly can't. So back then, what I did is when I went home, I remembered that. I went those 3 things. I went, okay, here's my takeaways. Okay, social media is powerful. People like the logo, whether it's dental or not. Those stickers went flying out the door, and I mean, out of my pocket. And then, it was just so there's something there. I need to know how to tie that in. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's how we're feeling as technicians. Could it be that we're the damaged goods, right? Like the dirty dozen, or we're in the trenches. We're the guys, the 1 to 2 man labs trying to survive this in this day and age, right? And it just kind of clicked. It like resonated with everybody. And the third thing was, so you have social media, the logo, and then, just the CAD cam issue and how we were going to approach that, or when that wave is coming, right? So how are we going to do this, and how are we going to survive? And, so anyway, that's really what caused me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about it when I got back. So what I did is I just wrote up a mission statement out of nowhere. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing with this, but I'm going to start a cause. Like, I'm going to write up this mission statement. I'm going to say, look. Then when I was trying to look up synonyms for groups, because I'm like, I don't want to just call it a group. This is more than a group. Like, what is it? So the guild came by to pass because back in the day in a guild, if you were in a guild, first of all, you apprenticed for that for a long time. You joined the guild as an apprentice, and then you worked your way up.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you wanted like a really good piece of glass or metal or whatever, you actually had to go to the guild and get that from a group of people. So I thought it was really cool that we called it Dental Technicians Guild, because what we were trying to do is preserve high quality handmade restorations by individuals and offer these restorations that were emulating nature and the best thing for the patients and this and that. So that's kind of what we proclaim, or what we try to do in DTG, is we try to be known for that, to just preserve that handmade quality. And so really that's what happened. That's how DTG got started. And to be honest, I wrote up a mission statement. I thought, I'll either be the laughing stock of the profession, or this will take off and do something.
And it did.
Pleasantly, like to my surprise, I started putting it out there, and just to my close friends that I had, and then it just got bigger and bigger. And you know what? To be honest, I never even put the damaged goods like watermark on my pictures. Somebody else did that first, and then showed me. Said, "Hey Vaughn, what do you think of this?" And let's not really even say who we are, but we're the damaged goods. We feel like damaged goods. There's offshore, there's all this stuff against us, but we're gonna so it was really cool. It was like an underground, organic. When it started, it was so fun.
Very cool.
Because no one knew what the heck was going on. They were like, well, I'm starting to see this everywhere, but what is it? And these guys put out these awesome pictures, and they watermark it with this skull, but what is it? And so it was really fun. I had the best time back then, because, it was no one knew who it was, but it was spreading quickly. And so really the brand Damaged Goods helped to bring everybody to me, or to our group. And then I could explain to them what the Dental Technicians Guild was all about.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
When did the magazine come into play?
So you know what? The magazine was always a part of it. And if you ever read, I guess you can't read unless you're actually invited to the Dental Technicians Guild. But from the beginning, these few things were in the original invite. And they're still there today. I still send the original one out, along with some other guidelines, that now that the group is bigger and it's worldwide and all this stuff, But basically the magazine was an idea from the beginning as well. that there was actually a few things. I wanted to start the social media group. I wanted to start the magazine, and I wanted to someday have like a Hogwarts School of Dental Technicians, like some kind of a super, and I knew that would be the hardest one to do because I did not have the capital. I still really don't. That is a dream, is to start an education center that just tries to fix the education arm in the USA. Just like what's going on right now is really sad. There's not a really places to get educated anymore on what we do.
Yeah.
There's a few places, but they're dwindling or dead or dying. They're just not. The USA, if you want to be honest with yourself, we're behind the rest of the world in dental technology.
Yeah.
We just are. Europe's killing it. The Japanese and Asian countries are killing it. South America is, in Mexico, oh my gosh. The work coming out of those parts of the world, just blowing my mind, right? But here in the States, it's just, they're closing. We're losing all of our, so if nothing else, we're needing it more than ever to have some kind of an institute like that can teach new students. And not only that, market the idea. Like I said, there is no youth right now saying, when I grow up, I want to be a dental technician.
Yeah.
Dentists maybe, because it's out there. You go see your dentist, whatever, but we're like the people behind the curtain, and it's hard to come, we have all these slogans in the DTG. One of them is come out of the shadows, because I think one of the unique things that DTG was able to do was get all of these lab owners that dot the United States. We're kind of under this umbrella, right? All together, we do the same thing. We just don't know each other. Like, how do we connect? I'm a 1 to 2 man lab. I hear all these rumors about CAD/CAM and how it's going to take over. And this lab down the street from me, they got bought. They got acquired and bought, and they're no longer there. I knew that owner for years. I'm like kind of scared. I don't know what's happening, right? Well, on social media, the DTG allowed all of those voices of the smaller labs to come together. And so that's what I did. The last 5 years, I've just been searching out who are these people who feel the same way, like-minded, we call it. It's not for everybody, okay? I realize that. I'm not trying to convert or like change everybody's mind into the way that I think. All I'm trying to do is I found that the way that I think, a lot of people think that way, but they either weren't able to connect with other technicians, or they were just afraid to come out and say, hey, preserve, let's raise the bar. Let's not jump in on and participate in the race to the bottom or the cheapest crown. Nor can I afford that, because I'm going to close my doors, right? That's where the fear is coming in.
Yeah. And
sadly, you guys, the bigger companies, the corporate people, they love that. I'm just telling you, they love that, because that means, more people will go out of business and their businesses will grow. And, it's a business model. I'm not angry at it. It's just not my business model. So I can't identify nor agree with that mentality that, hey, we'll push the almighty dollar no matter who it crushes, what we do. Our bottom line is the main thing that we're concerned with, and we're going to go forward based on that alone. I have some moral issues with that, and that's my whole beef when people think, oh, Vaughn, he's anti-corporate, he hates Glidewell, he hates all this. You know what? I'm for anything that's educating young technicians proper ways of making teeth that look like teeth, or wanting to raise the bar of dentistry and get these patients and our clients the best possible result that they can get.
Yeah, and you know what? When you talk about it, you can hear the passion in your voice, like it's coming right through loud and clear. Some of us who work in large laboratories, that are largely corporate and have, niches of, areas in the lab that do the high-end work, that we are, where we are. and we still love the industry, and we still love to do great work. And so I echo your sentiments, and I respect where you're coming from.
Well, Barbara, that means a lot to me because, I do get talking about what I'm passionate about, but here's something I've also learned. There are passionate people inside of this includes any huge lab, anyway, that really do care about that, and they really are passionate people, and they want the same thing. So I'm not about to say, that this applies to everybody or every big lab or anything like that. I know, and I learned that from meeting with associations like the NADL, and I've met personally with these people, and they are passionate people that they're doing all that they can. But you know what? At some point, I guess more what I'm speaking to, at some point, there's all kinds of red tape and government bodies and people that, as you go up higher and higher and higher, you find out it comes down to a few people that are making all of these important decisions for everyone else. And it's the same everywhere.
You give all this time back, and, you try to do all of these great things to move forward.
I want to thank Von Groh for his interview. I love this guy's passion for the industry. We enjoyed this interview so much that this is the first time on Voices from the Bench. We're actually going to have a part 3. So make sure you join us next week for one more episode of Devon, and part 3 next week. Join us.
All right.
If you like what he's saying and you don't know much about him, and you can get to Utah on August 16th, kind of a short notice, they're having the DTG Symposium. Big names in the industry and some great speakers.
Yeah.
If you're interested, check out dtgevents.com for more information. If you're listening to this episode before midnight on August 6th, which is the day it comes out, you can still get a Voices from the Bench t-shirt where all the profits go to the Foundation of Dental Lab Technology. After midnight, the fundraiser's over. So if you haven't got a t-shirt yet, today is your last chance. Check it out. If you go up to the link on the top of our website, voicesfromthebench.com, you'll see a link to get a t-shirt.
Today's our last chance? Then what? No more?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. This is a fundraiser for the Foundation of Dental Lab Technology, so we'll just have to see if the demand is still there.
I hope the demand's there, because that race is coming up in 3 weeks, and I'm preparing for it. So let's support for it, guys. Thank you.
Well, speaking of the foundation, make sure you head over to dentallabfoundation.org and make a donation to the Race for the Future. If you put Voices from the Bench as a racer, it will be applied to Barb. So I hope I'm not going to race this year, but we'll be cheering everybody on. But I started thinking about all the people who are racing that were guests on this podcast.
Yeah.
Chris Bormas,
Yep.
Sean Siegel, Sean Nowak, Steve Killian, and actually a few others that have been interviewed, but their episodes haven't aired yet. So it's a great group of people doing some crazy stuff for a good cause. Make sure you head over to dentallabfoundation.org. And I want to thank everyone who's telling other technicians about us. We're constantly growing, but please keep it up and let everybody know. The more listeners, the better. And if you get a chance and you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a review. We haven't had one in a while, and we would appreciate it.
That's right. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support.
All right, everybody, have a great week, and we will see you next week for part 3 of Vaughn. Have a good one.
Bye. Well done, my friend.